welcome to the latest episode of our Mystic Road Trip. I'm Kim, and as always, I'm your friendly neighborhood spiritual wellness coach and Jungian mystic. I like to use tarot astrology and mindfulness to help women find their way back to their authentic self and find their way to a path that truly makes them happy and is in alignment with what were meant to be. And today I want to talk about something that comes up a lot in my work, actually, and in my own life too. Let's just be real, right? It's real. It's called the heroine's journey. Um, you know, this my work is not about becoming perfect, right? It's about coming back to who you already are, as I said. Because if you've ever had these feelings, like there's a version of you that hasn't like fully had a chance to live yet or speak yet or take up space, I think this episode is going to be really good for you. And just to be clear, as I always say, this isn't about fixing yourself. It's about remembering yourself. And that's important. So let's start with what exactly the heroine's journey actually is. You often think of this when you hear that terminology. A lot of people, especially the term journey, you think about something external, a quest, a destination, a big dramatic moment. But when I'm talking about the heroine's journey, it's more of an inner journey. It's not about slaying dragons or proving your worth. Although, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to get out there and, you know, live a live action D&D game. It's really about reclaiming your voice, your intuition, right? Your power. It's the movement from being shaped by the world to consciously shaping your own life. And you know what? For most people, it starts very quietly, not with certainty, not with confidence, but with a feeling. I know it did for me, right? Let's talk about a couple of the steps that's going to happen in this journey. The first thing is, you know, is noticing something feels off, incomplete, heavy, in a way you really can't explain it. You know, maybe you're exhausted from doing what's expected. Maybe you've done everything right and still feel unfulfilled. Maybe there's just this quiet thought that keeps coming back. There has to be more than this. You know, that was the thought that I had. You know, that thought, it whispered. It's not dissatisfaction per se. It's just awareness. It was like, hey, there's something, you're not happy, right? That's the beginning of a journey, right? I had a good job, I had an apartment, I was living my life, and I wasn't happy. And that voice was, when I started noticing it, these were the things. And it's very common with a lot of the people I work with. You know, here's the thing. Once you've noticed that feeling, the next step is really taking like an inventory, right? Looking around and asking, what actually shaped my life up to this point? It could be anything. It could be family expectations, cultural rules, gender roles, old habits, survival strategies that once made sense, right? Especially if you had trauma or you dealt with someone with mental illness or anything that happened. Like sometimes you created these strategies to protect yourself, right? A lot of us are living lives that were built around who we needed to be, not who we truly are, right? And this is where tools like astrology and tarot can be really helpful. Not because they tell you who to be, as I said in the last, but also because they reflect on patterns back to you. Your chart might show you where you learn to overfunction or where you dimmed parts of yourself to stay safe. A tarot card might point out to you a strength that you forgot you had, or a shadow you're finally ready to meet, right? It's really, astrology and tarot is really like having a map, not to change you, but to remind you where you left pieces of yourself behind, right? Here's the thing. After you've noticed it, after you've done your inventory, if you don't make actions to change it, it's not going to change, right? So you have to take action. And this is where a lot of us, even I, at some points, and still sometimes get overwhelmed. You know, it's very important that I repeat this and I say this over and over again. This journey does not require dramatic life overhaul. It can start small. It might look like setting a boundary that feels uncomfortable, right? But it's honest to you. Speaking a truth you've been holding back. Letting yourself want something without immediately talking yourself out of it. This is something I do all the time. It's just been in the last couple of years where I really never felt ashamed about saying what I wanted. Well, not always, but it's in particular, right? Like, we all have hangups. So this one thing I probably always wanted, but I wasn't open to saying it because it made people had told me, oh, if you want that, that means you're greedy. Oh, if you want that, it means like you're unhappy with where you're at. Like, there's all these things, and I had to unpack that. And luckily, I met someone to help me unpack that, right? But it's still there occasionally. Here's the thing: every intentional choice, no matter how small, is a step, right? And no journey is straight. There's curves, there's challenges, there's ups and downs. You'll pause sometimes, you'll second guess yourself sometimes, you'll circle back to old patterns, revert back to the ways that you are. That doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're paying attention, right? Every obstacle can become a mirror. Every trigger shows you where your power has been hiding, right? Now you've noticed, you've made some actions, right? It can be simple actions, right? Um, I'm a Capricorn sun, and we'll talk about deconditioning in the next episode through astrology. But here's the thing. So I have a problem relaxing. If I have a day where I lay on the couch and just watch movies, that day I'm fine. The next day I'm like, oh, I wasted all that time. Allowing myself to relax and recoup and recharge is important, and I know that, but there's still that thought in my head sometimes. It's like, oh, you wasted a day. And that was because I was told that's how you are successful. That's how you show like you're responsible. It's irresponsible to lay around and do nothing, right? So it still happens. So a big step for me is to, when I catch that thought, be like, no, you needed that time to recharge. You feel better today. Sometimes you need to allow your brain to shut down and just veg out on whatever you're watching. Right now, it's All's Fair, the Ryan Murphy with Kim Kardashian and Sarah Paulson. It definitely causes my brain to shut down. Anyways, so once you've done that, you have to integrate those actions, right? The journey has to go to integration. You can make the change, but if it's not integrated, it's never going to stick, right? So this part is quieter but very deep. Integration means letting all of you exist. The strong parts, the sensitive parts, the intuitive parts, the rebellious parts. You don't have to fix them, not ranking them. I'm more this than that. Just letting them be and belong. When you live from this place, things start to shift. Your choices start to feel more aligned. Your energy feels clearer. You start recognizing all these patterns instead of being controlled by them. This journey and the power in it isn't being fearless, because that's not possible, right? It's about being awake, being curious, and honest with yourself. So, if you're wondering where to start here. Notice where you're following a script, right, instead of your own truth. Notice where you feel drained. Notice where your intuition keeps nudging you. Also, guys, not only where, but who. Notice who you return to old scripts with. Notice who you feel drained when you're around. Notice who your intuition keeps nudging you about, right? Simple daily practices can help. And it's not a one size fits all. It's really what works for you, right? Journaling, meditation, pulling a tarot card, looking at your chart with curiosity instead of judgment, right? All these things. And journaling might be different. I've started audio journaling. It's much better for me because I have a Sagittarius Mercury and I talk, right? I can talk things out. Meditation, whatever it is you choose. Take one small intentional step today, just one, right? Something that really honors your authentic self. And that's it. That's how the journey begins. Just one step. I want you guys to know, like, I want y'all to know the heroine's journey isn't about perfectionism, right? It's really, as I said, about curiosity, courage, and choosing yourself again and again. The truth is, your story doesn't belong to anyone else, and it never did. Even if you're in a relationship with someone, their story is theirs, your story is yours, and then your guys' story together, that's your story. But each of you have your own story. Once again, I'm Kim. That's all I have for you today. I'm your guide through this mystical and magical and deeply human movement. So until next time, guys, keep noticing, keep questioning, and keep reclaiming your pattern, your power. Your story is waiting for you. I'm so very proud of you for taking this first step. I know you're going to be successful. If you resonate with this, please like and share and also follow. If you want, you can join me over on social media on TikTok and Instagram. I'll leave the link in the description where daily I do insights and other little things over there. Yeah, I would love to see you there as well. And I would love to uh, be on this journey with you. As always, guys, like I said, keep noticing, keep questioning, and I will see you next time.